Yo, 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 check 1, 2, in the place to be, and I'm with my crew. What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Mr. Baker, the music maker. You already know who it is. Coming at you with another hot tutorial. This one's from a very famous pop song that you guys keep requesting that is blowing up all over the radio and topping the charts. It's called Levitating by Dua Lipa featuring Da Baby. Oh yeah, I already made the song, so this time I'm not going to start it from scratch. I'm going to show you the song, and then we're going to build it together as I show you all the different components of it. Before we do that, I'm just going to play it, and I want you guys to hear it. Check it out. Yeah, so there's pretty much the whole background music to Dua Lipa's Levitating, which continues through the whole time. And she sings on top of that. The baby raps on top of it. Yeah, all that good stuff. Let's dive right in and figure out what we need to do to make this popular song. What we need to start with is the settings. I always start with the settings because if you don't do the settings first and change them later, you're going to end up having some problems usually. So settings are right here in this gear icon down the bottom. Whoa. Now, the settings come default with 4 bars. But one thing you need to change is the length to 2 bars, since it's just a simple pattern that repeats itself over and over throughout the song. So length, not 4 bars, but 2 bars. Then you need to change one more thing, which is the scale. That talks about with the notes that are available for you to use when making your song. We're going to switch the scale from major to chromatic. Chromatic. That means it gives you all the notes so that you have all 12 notes at your disposal and you'll be ready to go. Those are the only 2 things you need to change is the length to 2 bars, the scale to chromatic. Length 2 bars, scale chromatic. Click the blue check to save your settings. Then you have your grid ready to go. Should be still looking blank, but we're going to go ahead and start building this thing. First, I want to change the tempo. Tempo is a fancy music word that means the speed of the song, and it is measured in beats per minute. Now, tempo of Levitating is pretty weird. It is 103 beats per minute, 103. So take your little gear icon, your little dot, and drag it down to 103. And that is the tempo for Levitating. You'll be good to go on that. Now, these over here are your different sounds. These are your drum sounds. These are your note sounds. Marimba comes default. That's like a giant xylophone, the marimba sound. And the kit, I like this one for kit because that's like the sound of an actual drum set. You can cycle through with whatever you want. For this personal song, I like marimba and strings. And kit is my favorite drum sound for this particular one. Let's hear strings. Now, I like to experiment with that once everything's done. So I'd leave those alone until you plug everything in, then play around with the different settings to figure out which sounds you like and which ones you prefer. So we got our settings, we got our tempo, we got our sounds ready to experiment with after, but let's build it from the bottom to the top. Let's start with this drum pattern. Very simple. It goes with a circle, skip 1. Triangle, skip 1. Circle, skip 1. Triangle, skip 1. Circle, skip 1. Triangle, skip 1. Circle, triangle, triangle, skip 1. That's going to sound like boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, clap, clap. Luckily, I have some drums right behind me here, and I'm going to show you what that sounds like on an actual drum set real quick before we keep going. We lower this camera. Sounds a little like this. Cool. So there's your drum pattern. Whatever. Pretty simple, repetitive. It just does the same thing the whole time except for the end. It does 2 claps right after that last bass drum sound. So your circle's your bass drum sound, your triangle is your snare drum sound. So there's the drums. Very simple. Boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, clap, clap. That's the whole pattern that repeats itself throughout the entire song. Now, once you got that down, we're ready to dive into these notes up here. I'm going to move my camera down here so you can see all the notes and everything that's happening here in what's called the chords of the song. Chords is a fancy music word that means like stacking notes on top of each other. So it's notes that play like at the same time instead of separately from another. And that's what you see here are stacks of colors, particular stacks that outline a certain musical chord. Now, for you music theory nerds out there, these first two chords outline a B minor 7 chord. These next two chords outline a F sharp minor 7 chord. Then we have an E minor 7 chord, and then back to B minor 7 chord. You don't need to know all that. If I'm interested in the music theory part, then I'm just speaking Greek right now. So don't worry about that. What we do have, though, is a whole row skipped in between each of these color spectrums. So these are just simple quarter notes because, if in your music class, you might call them as ta, 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 ta. And if you want to say them in numbers, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we said all the beats, which means all those blank rows in the middle, it would sound like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And their eighth notes, you could call them ta-dee, 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 ta-dee. But these are just quarter notes. So you're going to skip a row and leave it blank after each of these groups of colors. Now, make sure you have all the right colors in place because if you get one or two off, it will start to sound funky and not really sound like the main tune. So the first chord, let's figure out. We got like a deep, like a forest green right here. In between the teal and in between the light green, we have a kind of what we call like a normal green. That first chord, and this one's below that thick blue line in the middle. You have that jungle green. Then you have a pink. Then you have an orange. Make sure you got the right shade of orange too, because there's different shades of orange in there. I call this like more normal orange. Then we have the same forest green kind of thing. And then we have a purple on top. And that outlines your first chord. I'm going to go over those again. Green, pink, orange, green, purple. Now, notice the second chord that we have next is almost the same thing. These top three notes are the same. The same purple, the same green, the same orange. This one does not have a pink one right here, but the bass note, the lowest note of the chord, goes from, instead of being this green, it starts with a purple. So that second chord only has 4 notes, as you can see. The first one has 5. So after you finish and have the correct colors and spacing of those chords on the first one, go ahead and put that second one in. Remember, these 3 notes are the same. And then the purple is the only difference. Instead of having 2 notes on the bottom below the blue line, it just has 1 note, and that's a purple. So there you have your first 2 chords, these first 2 B minor 7 chords, and you have that ready to roll. Now, once you have those ready, you're going to move on to that third chord, which lines up with this second circle you have on the bottom. And that is going to be a little bit different than before. Notice the top 2 notes are the same. So go ahead and repeat those top 2 notes and put those in from the top to bottom, you got purple, then green. But then a different chord is outlined here. And so you need underneath that a yellow. And then 2 below that yellow, or 3 below that yellow, is a darker orange that you're going to put in. And then you also have the green one that you had in the first chord, the same green one right here, as that bass line is moving back and forth from green to purple, green to purple. You see that kind of pattern in the lowest note there. Now, that's what your third chord's looking like. From the top to the bottom, you got purple, green, yellow, dark orange, green. Boom. Now, if you've got that all finished, check out that fourth chord. It's almost the same. The top 4 notes are the same. So go ahead and put those in again, exactly like the chord you had before. But instead, this time, no green on the bottom. You're going to put a purple on the bottom. So these 2 chords are almost exactly the same, except for the bass note, which is a purple. And again, that lines up with the triangle. Make sure you're skipping a row after every single chord. And so you have your 4th chord there ready to go. That's your second F sharp minor 7 chord. Now, that's pretty much the first half you got done. Check your colors. Make sure all the spacing is right and that yours looks like mine. Otherwise, it's not going to sound correct. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the next 2 chords. We have a E minor 7 outline. So it starts with the low E, that low yellow. So we're going to build this one from the bottom up too, because this one's a lot different than any of the chords we've had before. Somewhat similar, but you see they're not anything like these color groupings that we have here. So it's going to start from the very bottom with a low yellow, which is lower than any note we've had so far. So it starts with the yellow down there. Then it has a regular orange right here above that, and then another yellow above that. Then we have a teal, which is like a darker green, and then we have a pink on the very top of that. Pretty simple. We have a yellow, skip a whole bunch. Then a regular orange, skip one. Then you have a yellow, skip two. Then like a teal, dark green, skip three, and then a pink on the very top. Boom, there's that chord. Once you got that one down, let's check out this next one. It's looking the same except for that bass note. Just like these two are the same except for the bass note, these two are the same except for the lowest note. So recreate that same chord here. Pink, teal, yellow, orange, and then a teal on the bottom instead of your yellow. We had a yellow as our lowest note on that fifth chord. Now on our sixth chord, we want a teal as our lowest note. Remember, these top four are the same. Once you got that down, you're ready for the last couple chords. Let's see what we got here. So, lining up with that last, or the last circle we have here is your second to last chord, which is a regular green right here, which is one below the teal you had before. And then you're going to skip four, and then you have a pink. Then you have a regular orange, then the same color green, but higher. So let's check that one out. There's only four notes in that second to last chord. Green, pink, orange, green. There it is. Now, only have to do one thing in the last chord that's different than that previous chord that you had, which you're going to copy the same one. Green, pink, orange, green. Then you have one higher note to add on to that, which is a top purple. And you can hear that if you listen for the highest note as the chords move along. That is what the movement that you need to hear in the high voices. So these chords are the same, as you can see, except for the addition of a purple on top. If you have everything ready to go, that should be the entirety of the background chords for Dua Lipa's Levitating. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. But let's check it out. Make sure we go over our checklist. See and make sure you got everything. Settings, 2 bars of length, and chromatic, so you have all the notes. Boom. Tempo, 103 beats per minute. Cool. Now, here's where you can mess with your settings of your sounds, your drum sounds and your instrument sounds right here. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. Personally, my favorite, like I said, is marimba and the kit. And you can experiment to make it whatever you want. Tell me what your favorite settings are in the comments. I'd love to know what you come up with. And let's check our drums. It goes boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, clap, clap. Same thing over and over and over. Now, the chords, big different color spectrums happening here. Make sure your colors are the same. Otherwise, it's not going to sound correct. And let's hear it. Let's hear this bad boy before we sign out. Let's hear it again. Hopefully you can hear her voice on top of that comes in with some 16th notes. Right? That's what happens on top. I could build all that, but that would take forever. For the sake of time, we just need the outline, the main chords and the main beat and the right speed and all that. Again, thank y'all for your requests. This was a hot request that I heard maybe a dozen times. People requested this one. So I wasn't very familiar with it, but I listened to it and thought, yeah, it'd be a cool one to make. So thank you for sending those requests in. The requests that are more obscure or like deeper cuts, sorry if I don't get to those. I like to go for things that are really popular or universal that will get a lot of people's attention. Obviously, it's YouTube, right? Again, my name is Mr. Baker, the Music Maker. Thank you for watching this hot tutorial. Stay tuned for more. I would appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. It'd mean the world to me. It really helps the algorithms and push this YouTube content so I can keep making more content you like. Keep those requests coming. I love you guys. Thanks again for watching. Peace out. Yeah.